I was this close. It came down to this one and that one. I was like,
Good move.
Good move?
Good choice. Good choice.
put that there for a second. Obviously, short turnaround here, 2 days in between the games. Thought we had a good workout yesterday. Took a look at the film. Thought we were a little bit sloppy in the game against Penn State. Needed to clean some things up. More execution based than anything else. I thought our competitiveness was good. We are entering February, obviously. We're in that month now. And we've got to make fewer mistakes, certainly, than what we made the other day. I thought at the end of the game our guys did a great job of stepping up and making plays. I thought that was encouraging. And then I also like the fact that every guy that got in the game, as I evaluated the film, made a positive play or plays to help us win the game. It was a total team effort, and I was really proud of them for that. Obviously, we're heading to the Rutgers game tomorrow night. Yesterday we were locked in on them. We will be again today. Really impressed with their team, with Mac and Jack. Those two guys can really score the ball, have a gift to score the ball, very athletic. Mac can make very difficult shots. I think the two-guard Bishop Daniels has really improved a great deal as I've watched them play successive games here recently, playing good basketball. And then they're big. So we seem to be, it's interesting, we had several games there in a row where, you know, maybe size wasn't as prevalent. Now we've had a few in a row here where, you know, you're dealing with great size. When you look at their 3, 4, and 5, they're really three forwards at 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", and they bring more of those guys off the bench as well. So they're very big at 3, 4, and 5, which means they're good. You know, they've done a good job on the glass with that size. We have not been particularly great on the backboard in the last couple games, and obviously we're going to be tested in that regard tomorrow night. So, you know, we've got to focus in today a little bit, make sure we're mentally and physically ready to go. Tried to be smart with our prep with a very short 2-day turnaround. Questions?
John, any update on Ray and Aaron, their suspensions?
Yeah, indefinitely suspended, and that's where it's at.
Are they available Tuesday night?
They're indefinitely suspended, and that's where it's at. That's between me and them.
Is Rutgers over there practicing right now?
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
John, what happened the other day on inbounds plays that made it so difficult?
Yeah, well, part of it is, and I did feel a little bit better after watching some more clips today because Penn State was on defense in several of these clips I was watching against other league teams. When you put Dickerson on the ball at 7'2" with that wingspan, Ohio State does a little bit. We do it at times with Nana. I think it's not easy. You know, it's not easy. Now, having said that, I did not think we cut hard enough. I didn't think we executed well enough in some of those instances. Weren't urgent enough, tough. Weren't paranoid enough about, you know, we got to get it in sharp here, and we worked that yesterday a lot, to say the least. Okay, so we got to be better with that than what we were the other day. We were either feast or famine. I mean, the first time we took it out, Hill gets a 3. Second time we took it out, Morgan makes a great cut. Tate makes a great pass. Morgan gets a layup. You know, we either scored or got a great shot or turned it over. It was feast or famine. It wasn't anywhere in between. And obviously we got to do a better job there. I thought there were too many miscues on inbound offense.
You did use all of your timeouts eventually, and Malcolm used one when he was nearing 5 counts. So was Jalen being conscientious to try and save a timeout in that situation?
You'll have to ask him that question. You know, he knows at that point in time, you know, what we need. We didn't run the play very sharp in his defense. Obviously, he ends up getting the turnover, Rob, and everybody looks at him because he's the inbounder. But, you know, we didn't run the play correctly. We weren't sharp on that particular action. We did not cut hard. We didn't make our second cuts. So I'm certainly not going to, you know, blame Jalen. I mean, we've got to have better execution. He's a part of it. He knows he's a part of it as the inbounder. But there are other parts to it, too. It's not just on Jalen.
John, 2-point field goal percentage has been down the last 3 games. Do you see is there a common thread between
well, I'm more concerned about if we're on balance. You know, I think we have been on most of them, Jeremy. We've got to convert a few more of them. You know, my buddy Sean Miller, I said last week at the Rebounders when I said them working on making 2-pointers on pads and brooms and all that, he said, here's my solution for you. Recruit guys who can make 2s. there's a gift to that a little bit, I guess is kind of what he's saying. I mean, he was being facetious and sarcastic, but, like, if you're bigger and you have a knack for doing that, you can get that done. We've got to get it done a little bit better right now than what we are. We've got to, finish, play better off penetration down there, do a better job around the basket, do a better job in the mid-range, although I thought Hill was terrific in the mid-range the other day. Nunn had a little bit of an off game in the mid-range. We just got to stay with it and keep working it. We've been working it very religiously here, not just now, but for the last few weeks. And that's all we can do is control what we can control and, do a better job of finishing, being on balance, and we're working hard at that.
John, I know Colbert hasn't played a whole lot for you in Big Ten play, but on Saturday he gave you some really good minutes in there. Talk a little bit about how he did.
I thought his 9 minutes were very productive. Thought he was good defensively, thought he played hard, thought he did a good job with post defense, thought he blocked out well, had the big tip in, had a mistake or two here or there, but that's going to happen. But I liked his effort. I thought he gave us really, really good minutes. So hopefully he can build on that a little bit. I've been waiting to see some of that in practice. He knows that. Practice matters at Illinois. And so he's got to get a little bit better with that. But I do like what he gave us in the game.
The challenges you had a week in between games, and now you have a short turnaround.
Sure.
Any challenges there with the guys getting?
No, I mean the guys probably want to play games, Marcus. If you're an athlete, I know you were, you play, and certainly not that our guys don't value practice. They do. I think we've taught them that, and I think the bulk of them do understand that preparation's really important. But remember as a player, you want to play games. So I think last week was a good week for us to be off, for some of our guys to get healthy, for us to get a little bit of rest. But now, after we've had that, I think they would tell you they won't play games. So it is what it is. We can't control the schedule. It was a little bit shorter prep, but shorter prep for them too. They've been traveling, so just kind of is what it is, and you got to play the cards you're dealt.
I was talking about the 2-point percentage, and 3-point percentage is going up. Is that just
It's been great.
taking better shots?
Free throws, threes, taking care of the ball. We're doing some good things. Our offensive rebounding's been better since we went big. I don't know what DB could get you the statistical difference there, or you could look at it on a stat sheet, but I think with having Hill, Colbert, Morgan, Egwu, Black playing together more in combination here the last few games, I think our offensive rebounding's been a little bit better. We've certainly done some good things. I told them that, I'm not trying to be too overly critical, but we've got to clean up some execution stuff. Inbound, Tup was talking about earlier, finishing twos, you were talking being on balance, we got some things we've got to work on that can make our offense better.
In the Maryland game, which was Ray's first game out, when you guys were kind of learning, what is it going to be like to play without him? And they've played enough games now. Have they developed their own chemistry with this core group?
I think it gets better with time, obviously, and especially with the offensive stuff that Jeremy was just mentioned. I think it's helped. I think offense takes time, takes timing when you have lineup changes, and I think it was Stan Van Gundy said one time, defense you play with 5 guys. You got to play really well, and got to be connected, and got to be together. Offense you play with 5 guys plus a ball. So there's a little bit more timing there, or maturation that needs to take place there. And I do like. Jeremy pointed to some good things there, and I certainly recognize those things. Those have been good. Taking care of the ball, offensive rebounds getting better. We're shooting well from 3. I think we're moving the ball better. The ball's sticking less. We're doing some good things. I just like to clean up some of the things that we can control a little bit better that we've already talked about.
Coach Hill just was named Co-Player of the Week in the Big Ten. Talk about him a little bit and how far do you think he's come?
Sure. Well, he deserves it, first of all. He's come a long way, Lauren, in a lot of areas. And I push him hard. I'm on him. I know, I'm on him pretty hard. I think the guys would tell you that for a reason, because I think, first of all, he's a great person. I love him as a person. Great student. Does a lot of the intangible things really well on and off the court that we want to be about, and I'm very appreciative of that. He loves the game. He works hard. But I think he can be really special. He's obviously played some good basketball for us this season. But I think at the end of the day, valuing possessions more has helped him, Lauren. I think being more disciplined in details helped him. I think understanding how to bring it every single day and everything that you do, how to compete in everything that you do, I think that's helped him. And then I think, his role changed a little bit with our team from the standpoint of he's always been a scorer and had a knack for those things on offense that he's been doing here lately. But with some of our roster change, he's had to do some of those things. He's been kind of put in that position where it's like, okay, let's go. And he's really, really taken advantage of those opportunities and done a really good job for us. He's a good one that I think has a chance to be great.
How's this defense at this point?
Better than it was early. I know I was on him on that as well. It's better. I was on him and Kendrick pretty hard about that. They're playing better.
With the late start, which of the guys on the team are early risers? Who are the late sleepers? How does it affect?
Well, our routine, Rob, on purpose, I look at the whole schedule, and probably this year more than the past even. We usually maybe change, but this year I wanted to have a routine home or away that's the same, so we don't change any of that. We stay in a hotel, we cover everything at the same time, we go to bed, we eat based on when they have class. I mean, it's the same thing every game. I want them in a routine that they feel comfortable in. So we'll just stick with the exact same thing we do regardless of what time the tip is. Obviously, guys have class tomorrow and have academic responsibilities. But, our shoot-around will be, 4.5 hours before the tip, just like it's always 4.5 hours before the tip. If we're on the road and they give us an early one, we don't take them. It's the same. We try to give them the same routine as much as we can.
Who's got the early morning classes?
All of them do. I mean, they all have got 8, 9. They all got them. It's the real world. I tell them they got to get up and go to work like all of us, right? Lauren gets up early. Right, Lauren?
John, anything new in the health of Cosby and their?
Yeah, those guys are doing well. I mean, from a health perspective, as I mentioned last week, I'm really excited and encouraged about the progress that they've made. Certainly, those guys have been aggressive with attacking that, so they deserve a lot of credit. So do the doctors, so does Paul. And they've been pretty religious and stayed with their regimen, and they've been pretty good. I mean, they're getting better. We've got, Kaz has been full go in practice and contact and the whole nine, and Ray's doing skill and non-contact. And, we probably could have sped him up even more. We could have for sure had it not been, for my decision, knowing that the suspension existed. To be smart with it. So I like how both guys are doing from a medical health perspective.
Do you ever stop and consider how much time you actually spend with recruiting? It's such a big part of your life, and it goes on all the time, that during the course of the season, how much of the time do you spend concerned about this team and as opposed to the next team?
That's a great question, Lauren.
I'm talking about the nights that you go out.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, obviously we recruit year-round. This morning I had a meeting on scheduling. There's certainly multiple aspects to the job, Lauren. I think that's a great point. But when the season starts and we start official practice, which is, this past year I think it was at DB like September 27th or 8th or something like that, right around October 1. Okay. Once that starts and until we finish the year, the bulk of my thoughts are on our guys, our team, what we need to do to get better, how we can coach them better, how we can put them in position to be competitive and successful better. What do we need to work on today? What do guys need to work on individually? So they're always, always on my mind. My wife would tell you probably too much, because I'll get home and I try to decompress a little bit and try to put it to the side, but I just, for me that's hard to do that. I probably need to do a better job of that.
Do you have any idea how many times you've been out this season?
Jamal knows that. He keeps track of it. Those guys just tell me where I'm going, and 99% of the time I go, and 1% I'll be like, hey, what we got going with the team? Does that conflict with the team? But they've been around me, with me, for a very long period of time, so they know kind of, how I operate and, what days are good to go out and all that. And Jamal's our recruiting coordinator and does just a terrific job of organizing all that.
Because Darius got back into playing a little bit. Just what
Yeah.
you heard from his progression.
He's had some big games, or big game here recently.
and is doing well. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about that. We're going to try to get down and see him here. One of us for sure, and certainly he's at the. He's really been in our family the entire time, so he's been on our mind and is on our mind a lot. But he's doing very well.
Given everything you've kind of been through with mixing lineups and injuries and everything, how pleased are you have a shot to get back to 500 here in Big Ten play Tuesday?
If I look at it big picture perspective, I think that's a great thought and question. Pleased, considering where we're at right now, because I can't change the previous 22 games or 9 league games, but the opportunity to do that tomorrow night is in front of us, and we've got to do the very best we can to take advantage of that. I think the guys have really done a good job of having that next man up philosophy and controlling what they can control. And some guys have gotten better, with some more experience and maybe a little bit of change to their role here and there with some of the roster change that we've had. And I'm hoping that bodes well for us here down the stretch.
Speaking of changes and adapting roles, you were really praised Bertrand and Iki last year for what they did. Ahmad Stark's kind of in that same boat with the way he's done for you guys this year.
Sure, I thought Ahmad, again, all guys that played the other day, I went over it after the game on purpose because I really did feel that way. I certainly feel that way even more now after watching the film. We don't win the game if Starks doesn't make those 3 threes. We don't win the game if Colbert gets the tip in and plays the post defense that he does. I think Morgan's really coming on. He's playing well at both ends of the floor. Tate had great command of the game. Nana makes the big jump hook late, the 2-point finish that Jeremy was alluding to. It was a big one for us, So you can go on down the line. Every guy that really did make an impact on the game. But, yeah, Starks has been good. And I'll give him credit, too, because we've thrust him into a situation where originally we were only going to teach him 1 position. And now he's learning 2 positions and trying to figure it all out. He's done a really, really good job with that as an older guy. Questions on the phone lines?
Got anything, Steve or Shannon? He's got on speaker.
Yeah, Justin and Shannon, I'm curious about what the team mindset is or what he wants to do. He wants to approach this like, okay, we're getting into our guy plan, or do you want it to be more measured?
Shannon's question for those in the room was, as we get ready for the game here tomorrow and we're starting to get down the stretch, do we talk about do or die time, or we just, what was the last part, Shannon, if it's, or?
Or is it like a more measured approach?
Yeah, or a more measured approach. For us, all we're focused in on is playing well. Even yesterday they'll tell you we did the exact same thing. We do the exact same thing, win or lose. We came in, we met, I had a couple thoughts for them, I showed them the clips, some things that they did really well, some things that we need to get corrected. We truly are just focused on this one game at a time because we can't really control beyond that. We certainly can't change what's happened in our past. It's kind of like the next game, kind of like the next man up philosophy we've had with our team. So, we don't talk about, do or die or, anything like that. We're focused on Rutgers and playing well against Rutgers, and then we'll come up for air.
I have another question about Jalen Tate, because you mentioned a few times, I know Nana's mentioned just command for the game. I'm curious if you could maybe just start just how we come to that point, what's been the bigger obstacles, and what's helped him get to that point.
Okay. Okay. Question was about Jalen Tate and Jalen's progress, and Nana and I referring to him having great command of the game, and how does he come to that point? I think Shannon just through experience, getting knocked down and, getting back up, I had a conversation with a friend this week. We were talking, sitting on my couch at my house, and, he said that we were talking about leaders making decisions, and John McGuire, who's the Navy SEAL instructor that works with our team, talks a lot about the 3 types of decisions. There's good decisions, there's bad decisions, and there's no decision. And the worst of those 3 is no decision, because you don't grow. At least if you have the right intent and you make a bad decision, you can learn from it, pick yourself up and say, man, I may not do that again, or I might do this a little bit different. That gives you an opportunity to get better. But I think sometimes we live in a world, sometimes in environments where people are afraid to make a decision, because staying the status quo or just staying even doesn't put them out there either way. And that's a real shame, you know, because you won't grow otherwise. And I think with Jalen, my reference to that or analogy is there were some times where he was knocked on his can a lot last year. You know, he'll tell you that. I mean, he went through adversity, whether it's, you know, playing less than he had played previously in his career, whether it was strength, whether it was, you know, different things he was learning throughout Big Ten play. I mean, and I give Jalen credit. He took all those things and all those experiences where he threw himself into the fire, and I think that fire has made him stronger and made him better. You know, he's more mature. He's more experienced. He handles adversity better. He's physically stronger. He's more confident. He's even more vocal, and he already has a gift for that to begin with. So, you know, I think those are the things that happen through experience and through a willingness to get knocked down, dust yourself off, and get your butt back up. And I think Jalen has done that.
Thanks, that's good for me. Thanks for translating to the room.
No problem, Shannon.
One question, John, please. Forgive me for asking. You probably addressed it, but I haven't heard any of the questions you've been asked, so I'm not sure what you said.
Okay.
I heard you say that Ray hasn't come back for any full contact drills, and because maybe he could have, but you made the decision not to. Does that mean that he's not, or they're not playing tomorrow night, or did you address that already?
I already addressed that already. Yeah, that's between me and them, and they're suspended indefinitely.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
John, the one thing we never asked you about Jalen much is obviously he's had a hard time knocking down the jump shots. Is there reason to believe as he continues to grow and so forth that he'd find some reasonable comfort doing that in right situations and so forth?
Yeah, I sure hope so, Tup. I think that's his next evolution, and I'm confident that he can do it. You know, a lot of the jump he made is, I always tell the guys, winner will ask what you did last summer. And I thought that he made a jump in strength, and he made a jump in, you know, watching film. He learned. I think he plays the game at a better pace. He understands what we're looking for within our system. You know, that's the next jump for him. And, you know, over my career, I've seen guys make that jump. Because a lot of it is repetition. You know, a lot of it is repetition. You know, I've seen shooters that have beautiful technique. Maybe not be as great percentage-wise, but then through repetition become really good. I've seen guys, of course, when I grew up in Indiana, Reggie Miller was a thumber. It was well documented. His offhand, he thumbed every ball. He's one of the greatest shooters of all time. I think eventually when you shoot that many times successfully and you just keep repeating that, repetition can oftentimes build mastery. And I'm hoping with Jalen that you know, that comes about, and I'm confident that it can. Jamal does a great job with him, and that's kind of his next evolution. And you know, they're already working on it now. You know, so he'll get better. And Jalen cares so much, and he's so competitive that I have no doubt that he'll continue to improve in that aspect.
Are you seeing that in practice?
Yeah, at times we work him out. We do different things with him. We're working hard to help him. But yeah, at times. Yeah, at times, Lauren. I think part of it is obviously you're right, doing it. You know, I think Clark Kellogg, who's a really good friend, said one time, either he and I were talking or I heard him say it when he was speaking, that a lot of times at the end of the day, your ultimate confidence is earned in games. It is. Now, certainly doing things in practice well helps, but I think your ultimate confidence lies in when you get that highest level of confidence that I can really do something and do it well, is when it happens in games. And, you know, I think it's more of an if than it is a win, because that's something that he can continue to improve on, and I've seen enough to know that he's going to get better in that area. And again, as I told Tup, I think that's kind of the next evolution in his game.
Anything else here? Okay, we'll let him go.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, DB. Yeah.